It's Yoga and Wellness. We are going to be moving through about a 30 to 35 minute flow today, and you will need either a yoga strap or anything that can serve as a yoga strap. So I'm actually just using my sweatshirt. So you want something long enough to be about the length of your wingspan. So it could be a yoga strap, it could be a shirt, a scarf, or a tie. So take a moment to gather something, a tool that you can use. And what we'll focus on today is really whole body releasing of stress and tension. So working through knots and kinks, and also bringing in a little bit of energy medicine techniques to really strengthen our immune system and our nervous system so that we can really tap into that sense of resting, relaxation, and balance out our nervous system so that we feel a state of real deep rest. So wherever you are in your space, go ahead and find a seat, either on a block, cushion, or just on your yoga mat. And take a moment to rock side to side, lean forward and back. Really just finding a connection into your sits bones, a connection into where you're landed this morning or this evening, whenever you're practicing. And then bring your palms to your lap. And keeping the palms turned down, we're going to take the fingertips, first fingers and thumbs together in Jnana Mudra. And so just letting your hands rest on your knees, letting your chin tip down, draw the chin in and down, and just letting your eyes kind of soften behind the lids as they close, letting your gaze drift up towards your third eye center, right between the eyebrows. And as you hold this shape, you're going to hear my singing bowl. As the sound slowly fades, take a long breath in through your nose, sigh out through the mouth. Long breath in through the nose, and sigh out through the mouth. Swallow, and then lift your head, open the eyes if they're closed. Releasing that mudra, just opening and closing the hands a few times. And then uncross the legs, recross them in the other direction if they were crossed. If you're in hero's pose or the legs are in the same lane, you can stay as you are. And then just start to move through shoulder rolls on one side of the body. These can be fast or slow, big or small. Maybe try going both directions and see which works better for you this morning. I keep saying morning. I don't know if you're watching this in the morning or not. So whatever time of the day it is, right? And then when you're ready, go ahead and switch to the other shoulder. And really intentionally and consciously, as we practice together on this day, really noticing and finding some awareness of the thoughts that come up. Go the other way if you haven't switched. The thoughts and the tensions or sensations, the feedback that you're getting from your body as we move. There's no judgment, there's no right or wrong, but really paying attention to the feedback, the messages that your body is giving you as we practice, and then just kind of roll through both shoulders. Good. Lean back in your seat as if you were walking up a staircase or walking backwards. So a nice tall spine. And then again, dip the chin forward. Soften through the shoulders. Draw the hands back so the elbows drop under the shoulders. And then just take that head side to side. remembering that the intention really gives our energy a direction. You might have heard that saying in a yoga class, energy flows where your intention goes, or intention goes where energy flows. But really the idea is that we have some control over how we feel and shift and direct our energy. Bring the head all the way back up to center, and then dip the left ear towards the left shoulder. Really soften into that right shoulder. If you want, you can bring the fingertips to the right temple with just that little bit of weight, not pressing or pulling. And we can find a sense of integration kind of in two ways. We can work right from the outside in, where we're using our body, feeling our body, and to affect our inner landscape, right? So as we move and stretch and strengthen, and even practice breath work, we're shifting our inner landscape. And release the hand, bring your head back to center. Breath in and out, and then drip over to the other side. Fingers to temples if you like. We can also affect how we feel from the inside out. We can start with our thoughts, which is our intention. Our thoughts, again, our breath practices can then shift how we show up on the outside. Our thoughts, our intentions, our pranayama practice directly affect how we feel, what shows up in our body. So we have opportunities to shift, right? Our inner and outer landscapes. We have opportunities and power to change our states, the way we feel, through the practices of yoga. Go ahead and bring your head back to center. Good. And then arms out to either side, just taking a little twist. So you can again move fast or slow. This can be a big movement or a small movement, but just moving side to side. A couple more in each direction. And you can play with how it feels to move a little brisker or to go a little slower. And then right back to center. Good. Stretch your arms all the way up to the sky. Catch the left wrist with the right hand. Leaning back again into the sits bones, lengthening up under the underarms, and then over to the right. Drawing into that left hip, nice and grounded, either chipping the chin down, looking towards the left knee, or maybe looking up past the left elbow. Good, and coming back to center, release the wrist, and then you're gonna bend the elbow, the left elbow. You're gonna reach for your strap or your sweatshirt, or whatever it is that you have this morning, and offer that left hand one end of your strap so that it's cascading down your back. Left elbow is drawing up towards the ceiling. Right arm's gonna stretch out to the right, and then bending at the elbow, and like a scarecrow, you're gonna reach back for your strap or your shirt, whatever is cascading down the back, drawing the right elbow down, walking your hands towards each other along the back until it feels like enough, right? Until it feels like just that right amount of sensation and tension through that left shoulder. And then lean the back of the skull into that left wrist, sitting nice and tall. As you breathe, softening into the jaw and the sides of the neck, softening into that left shoulder socket. About 5 breaths here. You might even lean side to side. I tend to come back to that swaying, rocking, and it's really just a way to self-soothe It's a way that we can mother and nurture ourselves. So if that offers you anything, you can find that little subtle sway side to side. About 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, you're just going to slide the hands away from each other, unwind, bring everything back to center, stretch both arms out at your sides, and just kind of letting that sensation filter down from the shoulder to the elbows, to the forearms, out through the fingertips. Take a breath in and reach up. And a breath out, hands to heart. Good. Make any little movements or adjustments that you need with the head or the neck or the shoulders to kind of ease into that tension as it kind of filters out of the left side. And then arms are going to come back up. Catch the right wrist with the left hand, lengthen, lean into the sits bones, over to the other side. Again, tipping the chin down or looking up past the elbows. So we're literally going to work our way from the top of the body down to the bottom through this practice. Starting with the head and the shoulders, and we'll work our way down. 2 more breaths. And release, let go of the elbow, or the wrist, sorry, bend the elbow, and you're going to offer that right hand, your strap or your prop, so that it cascades down the back. Right elbow lifting up towards the sky. It's like you're lifting up underneath the underarm and you're rolling the top of that left or that right arm back. Left arm sweeps out and bends behind. So you're dropping that left shoulder down as you reach the hands towards each other, finding that right amount of tension. Splitting the elbows apart. And then drop the head back into the hand. Either closing the eyes or finding one solid point to focus on. And deepening the breath. As you're breathing in, feeling that subtle lifting of the upper body out through the right elbow from underneath the underarm. And as you breathe out, feel that subtle grounding, releasing, letting go through the legs and the hips, just that subtle opening and closing, expanding and contracting. 2 more breaths. Float the arms, the hands away from each other, letting the arms come down at your sides. Just feeling all of that sensation travel and filter from the shoulder down the arms. When you're ready, big stretch up, inhale. Exhale, hands back to heart. Good, releasing any kinks or tensions that are left. And then when you're ready, go ahead and find a tabletop. So we're going to come onto our hands and our knees. Hear all those cracks and pops. Maybe give your ankles a few rolls in either direction. So shifting down into our upper back and our spine, just moving through some cat-cows here. So walking the hands back so that the wrists are under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips, flat the toes, and then start to move your torso so that you're dropping the belly as the eyes and the heart shift forward, spreading the sits bones apart behind you, bending the elbows just a tad, and then rounding the back, dropping the head, dropping the tail, arms straighten out and hands press into the earth, the shins press to the earth. And then keep moving with your breath, breathing in one direction and breathing out in the other. We'll take about 5 more of these. One more. And as you come back through center, pausing for a moment. Good, and then curl the toes under, lift up and back. Find your downward facing dog, so stretching into the backs of the legs now. Pedal out your downward dog, so bending one knee, straightening the opposite, and then switching. Starting to wake up the legs. Really grounding through the hands with the fingers spread nice and wide. And just one more long breath in through the nose. Big sigh out through the mouth. And go ahead and lower your knees. Take the big toes to touch, bring the knees a bit wider, and stretch back to your heels. Find a child's pose for a few breaths. So you certainly can walk your hands forward as you lower down. You might bend your elbows and just give your forehead a place to land. If that's the case, or if the head is on the ground, it's rolling side to side so that you're just massaging that third eye space. And just 3 more breaths here. And as you're ready, go ahead and lift up back to your seat. We're going to turn and just come back onto our bottom, stretching the legs straight out in front of us. As we move down to our core, we'll hit our hips and then end with the legs. So just taking a little rock side to side, feeling those sits bones again. And a couple of options here. So we're going to move into a twist. So you're welcome to bring the legs back to easy pose, Sukhasana, which isn't always all that easy, to be honest, right? Sitting crisscross. You could also keep the legs stretched out and bend one knee. So either keeping that foot right there or crossing it over the leg. So this is nice because you get a little bit of that hamstring stretch as well. It's really just preference. So if you are sitting in this shape with the legs, you're going to take the arms up, or either way, if you're sitting in easy pose or in this shape here, the arms are going to come up. We're going to turn our body to the right. Hands are just going to tent all the way down. So if you're in easy pose, both fingertips will come to the earth. If you're in this shape, you're going to bring the elbow to that knee. And either way, we're turning our torso to the right. As you're turning to the right, be mindful of your left hip and let yourself kind of come back in towards yourself. We tend to like jet forward when we twist, like we're reaching for something. There's nowhere for us to go, literally, right? So notice if that's the case for you and let yourself ease back in, coming back in towards your center, settling back into this place, literally, and metaphorically and energetically that we are in. So letting yourself sink back in, that left hip is grounding. And from that place, use your breath. Your inhale lifts you tall, the chin tucks in just a little, and your exhale draws you into that twist. Really using your breath for that lengthening of the spine, and the exhale to hold you into that twist, feeling yourself pulling back in towards your center. About 3 more breaths. after this last exhale, all the breath out, go ahead and slowly unwind, come back to center. So whether your legs were stretched out or you're sitting in easy pose, just take a moment to bend the knees, bring the hands to your sides, and windshield wiper the knees side to side. And you might even get a little massage in the glutes, kind of depending on what you're sitting on and how far you let the knees go, right to left. And then when you're ready, either coming back to easy pose or stretching the legs straight out. If the legs are stretched out, you're gonna bend that knee, either keeping it here or crossing it over that opposite thigh. Everybody stretches their arms up. Turning torso to the left, tent the hands down either side of your hips. If you're seated like this, your elbow's gonna hook around the knee. And we're all turning to the left. Be mindful again of the right hip. And as you check back in with your breath, as you let the breath hold you here, coming back in towards yourself, check in with your chin, your neck, and your jaw. So just noticing if there's any clenching of the jaw, of the teeth, of the neck. And just as the breath holds you in this shape, also letting the breath soften all of those muscles of the neck and the jaw, the shoulders. And our breath is really what bridges our mind to our body and our body to our mind, right? So whether we're working from the outside in, even in this shape, really feeling our body, feeling our arms to ourself and our hands to the ground, or whether we're working with that mindful intention, the breath is right there as the bridge. Let's take 3 more cycles of breath. Stay through that whole exhale. And then all the way back to center. No matter which way you were sitting, you're gonna unwind, bend, hands at your sides, taking that little shift again of the knees right to left. And then coming back to center, bringing the feet in, bottoms of the feet together, the knees are gonna butterfly out. You can take a moment to kind of shift, and here we are going to lean our pelvis forward a bit. So intentionally finding that tall seat and finding that little tilt of the pelvic bone forward, or the pelvic bowl. So you feel this little bit of grounding through the back of the sits bones, but this little tilt forward, right? And then just take a moment to literally press the bottoms of your feet together. Let the toes connect. So the pinky toes, all those toes in the middle, up to the big toes. And just holding your hands here for a moment. Tip the chin forward again. Soften the jaw, deep breath in and out. And we're literally grounding ourselves, right? We're pressing the feet together. Feeling the bottoms of our soles connect, feeling our sits bones press to the earth. And then go ahead and let your eyes open if they were closed. An option here is to take a practice that's called zipping up the toes. It sounds really weird, but again, it comes from energy medicine work, and it has to do with all the meridians and the lines of energy, the bottoms of the feet. So if you want to try zipping your toes, here's what you'll do. You'll take your pinky toes and you literally will bring one on top of the other, and then you'll come up to the next toes, and you just, it's like you're creating a little zipper. So you're like wedging them in, almost like you're interlacing your toes. That's it, right? If your toes happen to be short or whatever, some people just have a hard time with this. So try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, no worries. So if the toes are zipped, they're gonna stay that way through this posture. Sit up nice and tall. I'm just gonna lean our chest forward, keeping the lower back nice and long, and then walk your hands forward either to pillow or yoga block, and just keep walking the fingers away from your body until it feels like the right amount of tension for you in your hips, inner thighs, and back. And then looking at your fingertips or dropping the gaze towards your feet. If the flexibility is there, you can always bend your elbows and lower forearms to the mat. And we're here for about 7 more breaths. Lifting your head, press your fingertips into the earth. Slowly walk your hands back towards your feet. If the toes are zippered, unwind. I'm just going to wiggle out, scrunch, and release the toes a few times. Gently draw the knees back towards each other. And either stretching the legs out, giving them a wiggle, or you can take those windshield wipers again side to side, whichever works best for you. And then go ahead and stretch the legs straight out in front of you. Give the ankles a couple of rolls in both directions. Stretch the arms all the way to the sun. Big inhale, and as you exhale, slowly again, lower your torso like a drawbridge all the way forward until you stop, and then let the hands rest on either side of the legs, either looking at the toes or dripping the chin down towards the knees. Sending the breath around the back, in towards the kidneys. Feeling the belly expanding towards the thighs as you inhale, and contracting into the center as you exhale. So, using our breath to hold us in this shape and letting the breath travel in your imagination or in your mind's eye, just down the backs of the legs, sending the breath down the hamstrings, into the calves, around the backs of the heels, and then back up again through that line of the back of the leg, into the sits bones, across the lower back. And slowly walk all the way back up. Good. And one last stretch here before we do a little bit of energy work and get ready for Shavasana. We're going to take the legs wide into a straddle. I like to lift myself and then lower back down. Again, we want that little tilt forward of the pelvis. The toes are going to flex up towards the ceiling. So if you kind of picture kneecaps, toes lifting up towards the sky versus rolling in. Stretch the arms straight out. And then just tipping to the left, Left hand landing along the left side of the leg. You can bend the elbow so that the forearm comes down if you like. For some of us, we're going to be up a little higher. And then that right arm is just going to reach over to the side, again, looking up past the elbow or down the inside of that left leg and grounding into that right hip. So working our way from the legs back into the side body. Just a couple breaths here. And release, coming back to center, just pausing for a moment. And then you can just slide that right hand right down the right leg, left arm reaches up. And if the flexibility or the mobility is there, you can bend the elbow and slide on down a little further. If you're here, that's cool. Left arm reaching over to the left. Breathing into the left side body. Heart spinning up towards the sun. Slowly coming all the way back to center. Draw the legs in towards each other. And go ahead and scoot your bottom forward as the knees bend. You're going to go ahead and lie on your back. I'm just going to turn here on my mat. Lying on your back, let the arms tent out or tee out, right to left. If you want to give the knees a hug in and rock side to side or take some circles with the knees, just massaging through the lower back and the sacral area. And take a few breaths and do that. And then when you're ready, let the knees drop over to the right. Let the shoulders kind of work their way down the back. Maybe let the head drop over to the left. And just letting that right side get heavy, heavy to the earth. Breathing into sensation in your left outer hip, outside that left thigh. And stay here for about 5 breaths. And as you're ready, slowly bring the knees back to center. And take a moment to reset through the hips, maybe even lifting up into the little mini bridge pose or hugging the knees in. And when you're ready, drop the knees over to the left. And kind of walk the shoulders down the back, either looking up or over to the left. One more cycle of breath. And slowly draw your knees back to center. Wrap your arms either under the knee pits or around the shins. Lift your head, tuck your chin, squeeze everything in tight. So squeezing the knees to the chest, but also the arms in around the body. Big, big inhale all the way to the top of the breath. And release through the mouth, let everything drop, let the feet come to the earth. Take any other movements or shapes that your body might need. And I'm gonna sit up just so that I can talk to the camera. But as you're ready, you're going to stretch out into your resting shape. So whatever Shavasana looks like for you today, make any adjustments that you need. And before we get ready to completely rest, just bringing some awareness into the feet and the legs. And you're just going to start to shake the legs and the feet. So just as it sounds, you're just shaking the legs side to side or up and down, almost like when a toddler has a tantrum, just shaking the legs. Shake, 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 like 30 more seconds. You can probably hear my shaking. And when you're ready, just stopping and notice that sensory feedback. Notice how you feel, thoughts or images that come to mind, and the best you can as you kind of just soften into that sensation, letting the legs roll out, let the feet roll out away from each other, just letting full sense of gravity take over the legs, really heavy, letting any muscular tension go. And bringing your awareness to the arms, same thing. Just going to shake out the arms. You could lift them off the ground and shake, or you could just kind of shake them into the ground like we did with the legs, just shaking the arms, the fingertips. Shake, 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 about 30 more seconds. And this is what we're doing energetically, is just releasing tension and bringing some balance back to our nervous system by just getting rid of all this frenetic energy that's kind of hovering around in our space, in our physical space, in our energetic space. About 10 more seconds. And then just let the arms drop. Let everything go. Let the jaw soften, let the teeth part. Maybe roll the head side to side. You might just naturally feel the urge to take a couple of deep breaths in and out. And just letting yourself start to sink into this place of complete rest. And you're welcome to come back to that mudra that we started with. Point your fingers connecting to the thumbs, either palms turned up or facing down. You're welcome to just let the hands be as they are. welcome to stay exactly as you are and continue resting. If you're ready, go ahead and find some connection to your breath, some movement in the hands and feet. And at your own speed, drawing the knees in, or maybe taking just a full body stretch and then drawing the knees in. As you roll to your right or left side, pausing for a moment, finding a connection once more to your intention. So from the inside out, noticing your intention or your prayer, your offering for the rest of your day. And then from the outside in, feel your body, feel your arms wrap around themselves. Feel your hands press into your flesh or your clothing. Feel your belly cocooned and surrounded. Feel your knees tap together. Big breath in through the nose. And a sigh out through the mouth. Go ahead and sit all the way back up. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. And as I often do in my classes, I have a card deck with me today. This is called The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. And I'm just going to pull a card for the collective, for all of us. And it says, I'm a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. Thumb knuckles up, third eye space. Thank you so much for being with me. I hope that you are safe and healthy and well. Together we bow and say, Namaste.